My child, I am Archangel Michael, sent with a message that carries urgency, protection, and divine timing. You did not arrive here by accident. Heaven has arranged this very moment because your spirit has been crying silently for answers. There has been confusion around you, pressure on your heart, and battles in places nobody else can see. But tonight, something significant is about to shift in your life. At exactly 3 p.m., a spiritual turning point will begin unfolding before your eyes. Do not ignore this message, because the Lord is trying to prepare your heart for what is coming. For many days you have felt exhausted. You smiled in front of people while carrying storms inside your soul. You questioned whether your prayers were still being heard. You wondered why doors stayed closed, why delays continued, and why certain people suddenly changed toward you. But heaven says the hidden battle has already been seen. God has watched every tear you tried to hide. He heard every prayer whispered late at night when nobody else understood your pain. Tonight at 3 p.m., something unexpected will begin to move in your favor. A conversation, a phone call, a message, or an opportunity may appear suddenly. What seemed delayed will begin aligning. The enemy wanted you discouraged before this blessing arrived, because darkness knows your breakthrough is near. But fear will not win over your destiny. God is stepping into your situation with power. I, Michael, have been assigned to stand guard over your household during this season. There has been unseen spiritual warfare around your peace, your finances, your relationships, and your future. Certain attacks were designed to weaken your faith and make you feel abandoned. Yet the Lord says you are not abandoned. You are protected. Even when you could not see it, angels were fighting battles around you that you never knew existed. Tonight will also reveal truth. Someone around you has not been completely honest. Hidden intentions will come into the light. God is removing deception from your path because your future cannot be built on lies. Do not be afraid when truth is exposed. What God removes now is making room for something healthier, stronger, and blessed. At 3 p.m., pay attention to your spirit. You may suddenly feel peace after weeks of anxiety. You may feel clarity where confusion once lived. This is because heaven is releasing confirmation into your life. The chains of fear are beginning to break. The heaviness you carried for months will start lifting little by little. The Lord says there is also restoration coming to your home. Broken relationships can be healed. Financial struggles can turn around. Emotional wounds can recover. Nothing is impossible for God when faith remains alive. Do not let temporary pain convince you that your story is over. Your current struggle is not your final chapter. There is a reason this message reached you today. God knew you were close to giving up. He knew exhaustion had entered your heart. But heaven is asking you to hold on a little longer. Your breakthrough is closer than you realize. The timing of God is never late. Even delays have purpose when heaven is preparing something greater than you expected. Tonight, before 3 p.m. arrives, take a quiet moment to pray. Ask God for wisdom, discernment, and peace. Release your fears into His hands. Stop carrying burdens that were never meant for you alone. Heaven is already moving behind the scenes in ways you cannot yet understand. Somebody reading this has been praying for a miracle concerning family. Another person has been crying over financial pressure. Someone else has secretly been struggling emotionally while pretending everything is fine. The Lord sees every situation individually. No prayer has been ignored. No tear has been wasted. I, Archangel Michael, remind you tonight that darkness trembles when a child of God refuses to quit. The enemy expected your faith to collapse under pressure, but you are still standing. That alone is proof that God has been sustaining you through every storm. When 3 p.m. comes tonight, do not walk in fear. Walk in expectation. Heaven is opening a new season over your life. What begins tonight may seem small at first, but it will lead to greater transformation in the days ahead. Trust God even if you do not yet see the full picture. The Lord says, I am making a way where there seemed to be none. I am restoring what was stolen. I am strengthening what became weak. And I am guiding you toward the purpose I planned for you long ago. Do not let negativity steal your focus tonight. Protect your peace. Stay away from unnecessary arguments, distractions, and voices that fill your mind with doubt. The enemy often creates noise before a breakthrough arrives. Remain spiritually alert and grounded in faith. This message is not about fear. It is about preparation. God is calling you closer to Him because He wants you ready for the next chapter of your life. Your testimony will inspire others one day. The pain you survived will become proof of God's faithfulness. Tonight, heaven is reminding you that you are loved, chosen, protected, and never forgotten. Even during your darkest moments, God's hand remained over your life. And now a new movement is beginning. At 3 p.m. tonight, expect a shift. Expect clarity. Expect peace. Expect divine timing. And above all, expect God to move in ways you never imagined possible. Part 1 ends here. My child, I, Archangel Michael, continue this message because heaven does not want you confused about what is happening around your life tonight. Many events that once seemed random were actually connected to a greater spiritual battle. The delays, disappointments, emotional pain, and silent struggles were not meaningless. There was a hidden reason behind every difficult season you endured. But now the Lord says the atmosphere around you is beginning to change. After 3:00 p.m. tonight, you will notice a shift taking place little by little. What once felt blocked will begin opening. The heaviness that stayed over your thoughts will slowly lose its power. God is breathing strength back into your spirit because you have carried exhaustion for far too long. For some of you, tonight marks the beginning of emotional healing. There are wounds you never told anyone about. You learned to hide your sadness behind a smile because you feared people would never truly understand. But heaven understands every hidden pain. God saw the betrayal that broke your trust. He saw the nights when tears fell silently onto your pillow. He saw the anxiety that kept you awake while everyone else slept peacefully. The Lord says your suffering was never invisible to Him. There are people who underestimated you because they only saw your weakness, but they could not see the strength God placed inside your soul. They thought your silence meant defeat. They assumed your delay meant failure. Yet heaven says your story is still unfolding. God often prepares His greatest miracles in hidden seasons before revealing them publicly. Tonight, someone will receive unexpected confirmation that their prayers are being answered. It may come through a person, a sudden opportunity, a restored relationship, or a peaceful feeling inside your spirit. Do not ignore small signs of hope. Sometimes God moves quietly before He moves powerfully. I, Michael, have been sent to remind you that spiritual warfare becomes strongest before breakthrough arrives. That explains why your mind has recently faced confusion, discouragement, fear, and emotional exhaustion. Darkness wanted you to quit before heaven released your blessing. But God kept protecting you even during moments when your faith became weak. The Lord says, "You survived because my hand remained over your life." There were accidents that could have happened but did not. There were betrayals that could have destroyed you but failed. There were spiritual attacks meant to break your mind, yet you are still standing today. That is not luck. That is divine protection. Tonight after 3 p.m., heaven says you must pay attention to your surroundings. Certain people may suddenly reveal their true intentions. Some connections will grow stronger, while others may quietly fade away. Do not chase people God is removing from your path. Not every departure is a loss. Sometimes separation is protection. The Lord is also warning you about negative voices. There are individuals around you who speak discouragement because they cannot understand your calling. They project fear onto your future because they themselves are afraid. But God says you were not created to live trapped inside doubt. You were created for purpose. Somebody listening to this message has been worried about money. Bills increased. Opportunities seemed delayed. You questioned how things would improve. But heaven says financial doors are beginning to open in unexpected ways. What seemed impossible will slowly begin aligning. God is able to provide through sources you never imagined. Another person has been carrying emotional pain from a broken relationship. You loved deeply, trusted sincerely, and still ended up hurt. The pain made you question your worth. But God says your value was never determined by how others treated you. You are still chosen, still loved, and still worthy of real peace. Tonight is also important for families. Heaven is touching homes that have experienced tension, misunderstandings, and emotional distance. God is restoring communication where silence once existed. He is bringing healing where anger tried to divide people. Pray over your household tonight because spiritual peace is entering homes that have suffered under stress and confusion. I, Archangel Michael, must also tell you this clearly: do not fear the future. Fear has stolen enough of your peace already. Every time you worried endlessly about tomorrow, your spirit became heavier. But the Lord says tomorrow is already in His hands. He sees what you cannot yet see. There is a breakthrough developing behind the scenes right now. A door is preparing to open. A burden is preparing to lift. A prayer is preparing to receive an answer. Do not stop believing just because results have not appeared yet. The enemy tried to convince you that God forgot you. That was never true. Heaven has been working quietly in your favor the entire time. Delays do not mean denial. Sometimes God waits because the timing must align perfectly before the blessing can safely arrive in your life. Tonight after 3 p.m., guard your heart carefully. Avoid unnecessary conflict. Refuse to feed anxiety with negative thoughts. Protect your peace because heaven is trying to strengthen your spirit for the season ahead. Your emotional health matters more than constant stress and drama. Some of you will receive clarity about a decision you have struggled with for months. You asked God repeatedly for direction, unsure whether to stay or move forward. Tonight the confusion will begin clearing. The Lord is not the author of chaos. When God leads, He brings peace even before the full answer arrives. I also see someone who has almost given up on prayer completely. You prayed many times without seeing immediate change, and disappointment slowly weakened your faith. But heaven says continue praying. Some answers take longer because they involve protecting you from future harm you cannot yet understand. The Lord says, "If I delayed it, there was a reason. If I removed it, there was a reason. If I allowed the waiting season, there was a reason." Trust does not grow during easy seasons alone. Trust grows when you continue believing even while the answer has not yet appeared. Tonight, heaven is also breaking chains of guilt and regret. Many people carry heavy memories from past mistakes. You replay old failures repeatedly in your mind and wonder if God still accepts you. But listen carefully, God is not calling you to live trapped in shame forever. His mercy is greater than your past. Stop punishing yourself for who you used to be. Stop believing your mistakes disqualify your future. The Lord still has purpose for your life. I, Michael, say again that heaven is surrounding you tonight with protection. Even now angels are moving in places your eyes cannot see. God has not left you defenseless. Spiritual battles are real, but so is divine protection. After 3 p.m. tonight, many of you will sense a strange calmness entering your spirit. That peace is not accidental. It is confirmation that God is near. When heaven releases peace during chaos, it means God is strengthening you internally before external changes fully appear. Do not underestimate tonight. Do not dismiss this moment. Heaven is trying to awaken your faith again. Your future still contains joy. Your life still contains purpose. Your story is not ending in defeat. The Lord says, "I am restoring hope inside you again." Some blessings will arrive suddenly. Some healing will happen gradually. Some answers will unfold over time. But all of it is happening under God's direction. Keep praying. Keep believing. Keep moving forward even when emotions try to discourage you. Tonight marks the beginning of a spiritual shift that will continue unfolding in the days ahead. What once felt impossible will not remain impossible forever. God specializes in changing situations people thought could never improve. And remember this deeply. The same God who protected you yesterday is still protecting you tonight. Part 2 ends here. My child, I, Archangel Michael, am speaking once more because heaven sees the condition of your heart tonight. There are emotions inside you that words cannot fully explain. Some moments you feel hopeful, while other moments you feel tired of fighting battles nobody else understands. You have carried responsibilities, disappointments, fears, and unanswered questions for so long that your spirit became exhausted. Yet the Lord says this night is different from the nights before it. Before midnight, a spiritual shift will begin unfolding around your life. The enemy wanted you trapped in hopelessness. Darkness tried to convince you that your situation would never improve. But heaven says the season of constant heaviness is beginning to break. Chains that kept your mind in fear are losing their strength. The pressure surrounding your life will not remain forever. God says, "I have heard the cries you never spoke out loud." Many people around you only saw the outside version of you. They saw you continuing daily life, working, talking, smiling, and surviving. But heaven saw the hidden battle inside your soul. God saw the moments when anxiety consumed your thoughts. He saw the moments when you questioned whether your future would ever become stable again. Tonight, the Lord is calling you away from fear and back into trust. There is somebody reading this message who has recently faced intense emotional warfare. Negative thoughts increased suddenly. Confusion entered your mind without warning. You felt mentally drained and spiritually weak. But this attack was not random. The enemy recognized that breakthrough was getting closer, so darkness tried to discourage you before your blessing arrived. But hear this clearly. What God has planned for your life cannot be destroyed by fear. I, Michael, have been sent to remind you that heaven still stands beside you. Even when your strength felt small, God continued sustaining you quietly. You survived situations that should have broken you completely. That survival itself is proof that divine protection remained over your life. Before midnight tonight, certain burdens will begin lifting from your spirit. Some of you will suddenly feel peace while praying. Others will receive unexpected news that changes your perspective completely. Some will notice doors opening in places where rejection once existed. Do not ignore these moments. They are signs that God is already moving. The Lord says there are people connected to your destiny who are preparing to enter your life. Certain relationships were delayed because God first needed to heal your heart. Brokenness attracts unhealthy attachments, but healing prepares you for the right connections. Stop believing you will always remain lonely. Stop believing disappointment is your permanent future. God still has meaningful people prepared for your journey. Tonight, heaven is also exposing hidden spiritual attacks against your peace. Not everyone around you carries good intentions. Some people smiled in front of you while secretly speaking negativity behind your back. Others doubted your future because they could not understand your purpose. But God says their opinions do not control your destiny. The Lord is teaching you discernment in this season. Pay attention to who drains your spirit. Pay attention to who constantly brings confusion. Pay attention to who appears supportive publicly but discourages you privately. Not every connection should continue into your next season. I, Archangel Michael, also speak over your household tonight. Heaven sees the stress affecting families, relationships, and homes. Financial pressure, emotional tension, and spiritual heaviness have tried to enter your environment. But God says peace is returning to homes that have experienced storms. Pray tonight over every room in your house. Pray over your loved ones. Pray over your future. Heaven listens when faith rises sincerely. Somebody listening has been crying over finances for many months. You worked hard but still struggled to move forward. Unexpected expenses created fear about tomorrow. At times you wondered how long you could continue carrying this pressure. But God says provision is coming from unexpected directions. A financial breakthrough is closer than you think. An opportunity is developing quietly. A delay is preparing to become a testimony. Do not give up moments before the answer arrives. The Lord also says there is healing coming for those who feel emotionally shattered. Betrayal damaged your trust deeply. You loved sincerely and were repaid with disappointment. Since then, fear has surrounded your heart, making it difficult to trust again. But heaven says your story did not end with heartbreak. God is restoring your ability to feel joy again. He is healing wounds people never apologized for. He is rebuilding confidence that pain tried to destroy. Tonight before midnight, release the bitterness you have been carrying. Bitterness keeps wounds alive longer than necessary. The people who hurt you may never fully understand your pain, but God understands completely. Allow heaven to heal what humans failed to protect. There is also someone reading this who feels spiritually distant from God. You still believe, but exhaustion weakened your prayer life. You became discouraged because answers seemed delayed. Yet the Lord says He never moved away from you. Even during silence, heaven remained near. Sometimes God allows quiet seasons not to punish you, but to strengthen your trust beyond emotions. Faith is not proven only during miracles. Faith is proven during waiting seasons too. Tonight, God is rebuilding your spiritual strength. Do not quit now. Do not return to hopelessness now. You have already survived too much to surrender at this stage. The Lord says, the chapter ahead of you will not look like the chapter behind you. What hurt you will not define you forever. What delayed you will not block you forever. What tried to destroy your confidence will not win forever. Before midnight, expect a shift in your spirit first. External blessings often begin internally. Peace arrives before clarity. Strength returns before breakthrough fully appears. God prepares your heart before He changes your circumstances completely. I, Michael, also warn you tonight about distractions. The enemy often creates emotional chaos when heaven is preparing promotion. Stay focused. Protect your prayer life. Protect your peace. Avoid unnecessary arguments that drain your energy and steal your attention from God's direction. Somebody will receive a phone call soon that changes everything. Someone else will encounter an unexpected opportunity. Another person will finally receive clarity after months of confusion. These things are already moving into position. The Lord says, I am opening doors no person can close. Even if people rejected you before, God can still elevate you. Even if you failed before, God can still restore you. Even if you lost something important, heaven can still rebuild your future. Tonight is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of a transition. I see chains breaking off your mind. I see fear losing power over your thoughts. I see emotional heaviness lifting little by little. I see God strengthening you for the days ahead. Do not underestimate your survival. Many would have collapsed under the pressure you carried, yet God kept you standing. There is still purpose over your life. There is still calling over your future. There is still hope ahead of you. Before midnight tonight, pray sincerely. Even a simple prayer spoken honestly can shift the atmosphere around your life. Say, Lord, guide me. Lord, protect me. Lord, strengthen me. Lord, help me trust you again. Heaven hears sincere hearts. And remember this deeply tonight. The darkness surrounding you is temporary, but God's power over your life is eternal. I, Archangel Michael, leave you with this promise from heaven. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are not fighting alone. Part 3 ends here. My child, I, Archangel Michael, bring this final part of the message because heaven does not want fear controlling your heart anymore. Tonight was never meant to scare you. It was meant to awaken you spiritually. God is calling you into a new season of wisdom, protection, healing, and faith. The battles you faced were real, but they were never greater than the power of the Lord watching over your life. After tonight, something inside you will begin changing permanently. You have spent too much time doubting yourself. Too much time replaying painful memories. Too much time believing the lies spoken against you. But heaven says the season of spiritual awakening has arrived. The Lord says, you are stronger than the suffering you survived. Many people never understood the private battles you fought. They only saw the version of you that continued functioning every day. They never saw the tears, the anxiety, the emotional exhaustion, or the silent prayers whispered in loneliness. But God saw everything clearly. Tonight, heaven is reminding you that survival itself is proof of divine strength operating in your life. There were moments when your heart nearly gave up. Moments when fear overwhelmed your thoughts. Moments when disappointment became heavier than hope. Yet somehow you continued moving forward. That was not an accident. God carried you through moments that could have destroyed you completely. I, Michael, tell you now that the enemy feared your future more than you realized. Darkness attacked your confidence because heaven already knew your potential. The spiritual pressure around your life increased because breakthrough was approaching. The closer people move toward purpose, the stronger distractions and attacks often become. But hear this clearly tonight. No attack from darkness can cancel what God has already spoken over your destiny. The Lord says your future still contains joy. Your future still contains healing. Your future still contains restoration. And your future still contains peace. Somebody listening to this message has been carrying deep regret over past mistakes. You replay certain memories constantly and wonder if your failures permanently damaged your future. But heaven says your past does not disqualify you from God's mercy. Stop condemning yourself endlessly. Stop defining yourself only by your worst moments. The Lord still sees purpose inside you. There are people in the Bible who failed greatly and were still used powerfully by God. Your mistakes may have wounded you, but they do not have authority to erase your calling. Heaven is not asking you to stay trapped in shame forever. God is asking you to rise again. Tonight is also a warning about spiritual exhaustion. Many of you have spent so much energy worrying about things outside your control that your peace disappeared. constant fear about tomorrow weakened your spirit. But the Lord says anxiety cannot add blessings to your future. Trust must replace fear little by little. God already knows what tomorrow holds. He already sees the doors preparing to open. He already sees the people who will help you. He already sees the protection surrounding dangers you cannot yet recognize. You are not walking into the future alone. I, Archangel Michael, also speak over your home tonight. Heaven desires peace inside your household. Too much tension, confusion, and emotional heaviness have surrounded families lately. But God says healing conversations are coming. Unity is returning where division tried to grow. Pray over your family tonight. Pray even for relationships that feel broken. Nothing becomes impossible when placed in God's hands sincerely. There is someone reading this who has secretly battled loneliness. Even when surrounded by people, you still felt emotionally unseen. You longed for somebody to truly understand your heart. But heaven says God has never overlooked your pain. The Lord is preparing genuine connections for your future. Not everyone will betray you. Not everyone will leave you wounded. Do not allow past heartbreak to convince you love no longer exists. The Lord is also speaking about opportunities tonight. Many of you prayed for change in work, finances, education, or personal growth. Delays frustrated you repeatedly. But heaven says timing matters greatly. Certain blessings were delayed because preparation was necessary first. A door opened too early can become dangerous. But a door opened at God's timing becomes protection and blessing together. Trust the process even when you cannot fully understand it. Tonight after this message, take a quiet moment alone with God. Put away distractions for a few minutes. Speak honestly from your heart. Heaven is not looking for perfect words. God listens to sincerity more than performance. Tell Him your fears. Tell Him your frustrations. Tell Him your hopes. Tell Him what has been hurting you. The Lord already knows, but prayer opens your heart to receive peace. I see someone who almost walked away from faith entirely because of disappointment. You expected answers sooner. You expected miracles differently. And over time discouragement entered your spirit. But tonight heaven is calling you back into trust. Do not allow temporary confusion to separate you from eternal hope. God is still working even during silence. He is still guiding even during uncertainty. He is still protecting even when you cannot see it clearly. The enemy wanted isolation to destroy your spirit, but heaven is rebuilding your strength tonight. The Lord says, "You have cried enough. You have feared enough. You have carried enough. Now allow me to restore you." Some restoration will happen quickly. Other restoration will happen step by step. But healing has already begun. I, Michael, also warn you to protect your mind carefully after tonight. Not every voice deserves access to your spirit. Some people constantly speak fear, negativity, jealousy, or confusion. Be careful what you allow to influence your thoughts daily. Feed your spirit with peace. Feed your mind with truth. Spend less time absorbing negativity that drains your faith. Tonight marks the closing of one spiritual season and the beginning of another. The old season carried pain, confusion, emotional exhaustion, and constant battles. But heaven says a new chapter is beginning to rise slowly before you. A chapter of healing. A chapter of wisdom. A chapter of restoration. A chapter of deeper faith. Do not rush the process. God builds lasting blessings carefully. There will still be challenges ahead, but you will not face them with the same weakness as before. Heaven is strengthening your spirit now so future storms will not shake you the same way again. Somebody reading this will soon receive unexpected good news. Another person will experience sudden peace after months of anxiety. Someone else will witness a relationship beginning to heal slowly. And many of you will realize that God was protecting you even during seasons that felt painful. Nothing you suffered was wasted completely. The Lord says, I will turn your pain into wisdom. I will turn your survival into testimony. I will turn your waiting season into preparation. Tonight, release the fear that kept controlling your heart. Release the bitterness from old wounds. Release the anxiety about tomorrow. And receive this final reminder from heaven. You are still chosen. You are still loved. You are still protected. And your story is still being written by God. I, Archangel Michael, leave you with peace tonight. No matter what happens around you, remember that heaven has not abandoned you. God walks beside you through every storm, every delay, every tear, and every unanswered question. After tonight, keep moving forward with faith. Keep praying even during waiting seasons. Keep believing even when emotions try to discourage you. Because the Lord says your best days have not been lost. They are still ahead of you. Part 4 ends here.